Hey, what's happening, guys? So completely mental news which hasn't really been picked up by British tabloids is that Uruguayan midfielder Fede Valverde punched Spanish winger Alex Baena following Real Madrid's 3-2 home defeat to Villarreal on Saturday. Police are currently investigating the incident, and it looks like the man on screen could be in for a long-ass ban, which is a dagger blow for Los Blancos. The 24-year-old has been flying high throughout the season and has managed to add end product to an already impressive all-round game. To understand his importance to the side, look no further than Ancelotti's comments suggesting the kid could even surpass Steven Gerrard's career in due course, which is some claim given what a sensational player the latter was, and for the fact that the Italian is one of the most level-headed managers in the history of the sport. For those of you who don't follow La Liga, this wasn't a game that had too much riding on it for Real. They've got absolutely no chance of catching Barcelona for the title, but are also comfortably in the top 4. So this incident had nothing to do with the proverbial heat of the moment. In fact, the root cause dates back to a Copa del Rey tie between the same two sides a couple of months ago in January. While Real Madrid came out on top on that occasion, it has been alleged that Baena tackled Valverde during the 90 minutes before telling him, "Cry now that your son is not going to be born," which, unfortunately, is in reference to Valverde's wife having serious complications during childbirth. Although the baby has somehow managed to survive, it's likely to go on to have severe health issues moving forward. Needless to say, Baena has come out on Instagram and denied ever making the remark, turning this into a quintessential case of one man's word against another's. I'm gonna stick my neck out here and say I choose to believe Valverde for a number of reasons. First and foremost, Baena was hardly going to say, "Well, yes, mate, I did in fact wish death upon his unborn child," and therefore any social media post from his end should be taken with a grain of salt. Secondly, Valverde quite literally waited for Baena in the car park. If this was something to do with a bad tackle or coming together on the pitch, there's no way he'd have gone to such lengths, particularly when he doesn't have a history of being a hothead like a Gary Medel or Gattuso, for example. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, Villarreal have chosen not to press charges against Valverde, which suggests to me that they're concerned it will open up a can of worms which will eventually reveal their player did in fact say what he's being accused of. So I'd rather brush it under the carpet as a football club. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's certain lines you simply do not cross, and this was very much one of them. Someone very close to me had a miscarriage a couple of years ago, and I wouldn't wish even 1% of that pain on my worst enemy. So I can completely see why an opposition player randomly bringing it up during a game of football might cause someone to retaliate violently. That being said, there's a number of different ways Valverde could have approached this. The most sensible would have been to come out publicly, just like Evra did after being racially abused by Suarez, and letting the world know what was said to him. That way, Valverde wouldn't be in hot water himself, and the authorities could dish out a suitable punishment. Conversely, he could have adopted the Roy Keane approach and gone studs up on Baena over the weekend, which is how the Irishman dished out retribution to Erling Haaland's father for accusing him of feigning injury following a tackle that would go on to rule him out of action for close to a year. While far from ideal, at least the incident wouldn't have become a police case and remained confined to the realms of football that way. Waiting for several months only to take action in a car park was quite possibly the worst choice Valverde could have made, and this is precisely why laws, courts, and judges are in place, which will sadly punish him for his misdemeanor. I mean, don't get me wrong here, getting decked in the face was the very least Baena deserved, and I'd have most certainly laid one on him too if I was in Valverde's shoes. The only difference would have been that I'd have done it immediately after hearing the remark on the pitch, as opposed to waiting it out for so long off it, with the end result being a 10-match ban instead of potential prison time. Please do let me know what you make of all this, as well as how you'd have approached the situation in Valverde's shoes down below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.